Hello, I'm Chris.
And I'm Matthew.
Welcome to the Still Wondering podcast.
We are two brothers in our 30s trying to figure life out. So come and join us for a wonder.
Hello,
Hello.
episode 33.
33?
With our peppermint tea.
Oh, I like it. Cheers.
Because we're on the hard
Excellent.
stuff.
Here we are. Anti-caffeine, having a bit more of a chilled life.
I have been having less caffeine actually. I've got down from like 6 or 7 a day down to 3.
I basically went on a caffeine detox.
Ooh.
I stopped drinking coffee because it depends on who was in. If Bob was in, then we'd get through a couple of those a day.
Right.
So it'd be like 5-6 cups of coffee, which is a lot.
Mhm.
And an occasional cup of tea or whatever. But I went on a complete detox because I was feeling a bit anxious. I was just like, I need to do something different. And since then, I felt significantly less anxious. I mean, I had a cup of coffee today, which is my first cup of coffee for a while.
Wow.
So I've been having decaf teas and coffees, and then peppermint teas and chamomile teas.
Hey, how did you do with that coffee? Did it kind of tweak you out?
No. Oh, with the coffee?
Mm.
No, I'm not feeling
Are
tweaky.
you twitchy?
Not
And...
feeling too bad. No, I feel all right. I feel a bit, I don't know. I don't feel massive. I haven't paid attention to it, I suppose.
Oh,
But maybe a little bit, sort of fired up.
well, go easy.
I will. Well, I've got peppermint now,
You know,
so it should have the
If you're
balancing
gonna,
effect.
If you're going to relapse, sometimes the relapse can hit hard, right?
It'll,
If you've been off the sauce a while and... It does make a big difference. It really does.
it has for me.
Reduce that caffeine.
Mm.
It's supposed to be very bad for you. Like if you read quite deeply on it, there's a lot of scary
Really?
stuff. Like
So it's affected the adrenal glands and stuff, isn't it?
yeah.
Really?
The central nervous system just being
Is it overloaded?
constantly loaded
Fight or
with
flight.
stimulant.
Fight or
Yeah.
flight. Oh, man.
We don't need that in our lives.
No. God, no.
It's hard enough wandering as it is
It is.
without being.
I don't want to be. If I can reduce that, and I have, going over to peppermint tea is just a much more calmer way of living. So, highly recommend.
There you are.
Recommend.
And that brings us to the
The
end
end.
of this episode.
Oh, brilliant.
Bit of a plug for peppermint tea. And, yeah.
This podcast was sponsored by Tetley. Minticious.
Minticious.
Yeah, Minticious. Get rid of your anxiety and stress with Minticious.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Delicious.
With Minticious.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And you get to do this with the herbal tea, man.
Yeah, you just play with it.
Yeah.
The tea bag, that is.
Yeah.
And, anyway,
Anyway.
Yeah.
What have you been doing?
what have I been doing? I've recently come back from America,
Yeah.
which was a really cool trip. So for the listeners out there, I'm a magician. That's what I do as a full-time living. And I got invited to a special convention which is limited to like the top 250 magicians. So there are more people that get invites, but only 250 end up getting tickets to this place.
It's exclusive.
Very exclusive. It's probably one of the most exclusive, well-established conferences in the world.
Nice.
It's been going. It's the 50th anniversary this year. So you go along and you're seeing people that have been, been on Fool Us. I can name names, but they won't mean anything to people. But there are people like Sean Farquhar, Paul Gertner, Dan Garrett, Juliana Chen. These are all
Not the Juliana Chen.
yeah,
Really?
from World's Greatest Magic, which I watched when I was about 11.
Wow.
I still remember her act.
Okay.
It's absolutely mental. Like cards going everywhere.
I'm being slightly facetious.
You
but
are.
This is a big deal
It's a big deal
in the magic world. This is
Yeah.
a big deal, right?
So it's my second year going along. First time was 2018. Then COVID happened, and this is the first one since then. So, and for the first 3 years, you need to perform to earn your bachelor's, your master's, and then your PhD.
Woo.
So I've got my bachelor's in the bag. This year was my master's, so I had to
Nice.
prep for that, and that was a very stressful time
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
left it last minute. Surprise, surprise.
Really?
Yeah, so about 3 weeks before, I was like, right, I should probably start getting some of the old stuff out of the bag from competitions from 2019.
Oh, okay.
So I bought that, resurrected that, reframed it specifically for 4Fs. It was a 5-minute piece.
Right.
Worked with a friend, Scott Penrose, on it, really honed it in and made some really nice additions and changes. And yeah, it's now, what is it, a week before, doing more hardcore rehearsing, did one live performance for the Cambridge Magic Club, which went well, did a final thing with Scott, and then basically packed my bags and left.
Amazing.
left for America. Flight over there was all right until we were landing, and for about 10. So I always feel ill on the descent. If I'm gonna feel ill or hot, it's on this descending. And this one was particularly bad because it was 10 minutes of wobbly turbulence and descending as we were heading towards it, and my body just overheated, and I basically got sick.
All right.
So I happened to grab a bag for life just as I was leaving. Bob's go, I could use that as a laundry bag, so I threw that in my day pack, and luckily I had that to hand to throw up in, but it was pretty miserable. But yeah, so that was my first flight. Second flight was fine because it was internal, so I slept through all that and it was smooth as hell. And then I arrived, and it was I felt a bit anxious about meeting people. I don't know how you feel when you go to I don't know if you do for work, you have to go to, I mean, you recently went away, which we'll talk about soon. But do you feel that kind of anticipation of, there's going to be a new group of people that we're all kind of interested in the same thing, but I don't know any of them very well. I'm a bit like, I don't have anyone to hang around. It was a bit like that.
Who are my friends going to be?
Yeah.
Am I even going to make any friends?
Yeah. So I had that going around in my head.
Okay.
If you can relate to that.
I can. Yeah, absolutely. Particularly when you're going into a run of people that know your world as well, and have their own levels of expertise and things. It's like extra pressure, isn't it?
Being around I'm not very good with being around my peers. I get quite flustered sometimes. I've noticed now I'm more chill now than I used to be, but before, if I was sort of speaking in front of them and put my hand up for something, I'd feel like a pressure behind my eyes. If that makes any sense for anyone that's listening. But it's kind of like this, what am I saying? It's fine, like gulping for air.
Yeah.
It's a very strange sensation. It only happens in those scenarios because it's like I know what I'm talking about, but I'm also filled with a room of people that also have their own opinions and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to notice that behaviour. Going, okay, I wonder what that's
There's
about.
something there.
Yeah, self-belief issues or something.
Yeah. That's not the adult version of you that's feeling that. Something else, right?
Yeah. So I felt a bit of that. But I arrived 2 days early. I went straight to sleep the first night, woke up, and then I went to the lobby the next morning, purposefully got up early. And I saw Daryl and another guy I vaguely knew, and they just sort of, oh, how you doing? Good to see you. And it's kind of like, okay, cool. I've got a group that I can be friendly with.
Yeah.
And then as people were arriving, it was fine. Absolutely fine. And by the end of it, I was really settled in.
Because everyone wants to be there, and everyone wants to use it as an opportunity to network and
just share stuff.
Show off things. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool.
So did you have the same clique of friends throughout the whole convention, or?
I mixed up quite a lot, actually. It's kind of, I didn't want to be too kind of, I'm hanging around with you forever now. It's kind of like, let's just hang out, and then if they have to go off somewhere, that's fine. I'll find other groups to hang out with. Yeah, it was just quite nice, just sort of being a bit of a social butterfly. I was kind of like that at school.
Yeah.
I was friendly with everyone. But because I know Daryl, who sponsored me to go over, so to get access, you need to have two sponsors. Say, yes, this person's of a standard to come over. It's quite selective. But he said, you come into the Italian room, which is this like Italian guy. I've forgotten how to pronounce his name properly, so forgive me. But he makes his own limoncello. And he brings it over in like Prosecco bottles that have been resealed to look like Prosecco, so they don't get done by the...
It's a good job you don't remember his name.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Put it on the internet.
Yeah, there's an anonymous Italian man.
Oh, Giovanni.
Tony. Yeah, so he makes... I didn't realise this, but as I was tasting it, I then heard that he makes all the limoncello. And it's incredible.
Wow.
There was like one which was done with mandarin, one was like amaretto-y. One was like creamy. It was just amazing. So yeah, so everyone goes to the Italian room, has a bit of an ease up in there, and session in magic.
Okay.
And that was really cool. People started sharing stuff. So now a friend of mine. I was aware of him on the magic scene, but I hadn't really had the chance to speak. But a guy called Christian went out there, and he was on the tech team because Daryl, he's a great magician. But Daryl managed to wangle him in on the tech team, so he managed to come along, and he started sharing stuff, and then that kind of sparked everyone else to start sharing.
Okay.
So as soon as that happened, it was like a really cool atmosphere of people going, have you seen this? This is how it works.
Nice.
So yeah, and throughout the weekend, people were sharing stuff that it's just cool to like soak up so many ideas. So yeah, I struggled to remember all of it, but I've since arranged a few Zoom calls with some of the guys to say, do you want to have a session online?
Brilliant.
To try and keep in touch with them.
It's great to hear that you have that kind of transparency. And the reason I say this is because magic is built on mystique and built on secrecy, like by its very nature, right? And you might think, oh, magician's conference, everyone's going to be like really cagey, not want to reveal their secrets or stuff like that. But the thing is, there's only so many techniques in the world, right? There's only so much theory that underpins an awful lot. So it's good to know that when you actually get together, that kind of can dissolve and you can share ideas.
To share stuff.
Sort of for the greater good of the magical art. It's quite nice. Were there any egos?
Yeah, there's always egos.
Oh.
There's always egos. I mean, at 4F specifically,
Yeah.
are there any egos there? Are we assigned? Probably not, because I'm struggling to think of any.
No, there you go.
I just get the feeling that the vibe there, they describe it as a family, and it very much is sort of a family. But yeah, it was just a lovely vibe. Everyone was in that space, and there were some talks about. So there's a number of members that have fooled Penn and Teller, or at least been on the show, and they were doing talks about how they went about that and sharing their ideas and stuff. And yeah, it was just really cool.
Nice.
Really great week. And then I did my performance, which I was quite stressed about. That was on the Friday, so it started on the Tuesday. Friday, 1:30. Did my performance, and I recorded it from the back. And I got off stage and watched back the recording like immediately, which is pretty brutal.
Yeah.
And it was the worst run through I'd done in 3 weeks. I was like, fuck. So, oh man, I stumbled on a few words and it wasn't quite as slick as I wanted. And there was a few moments that needed to be fluid, which weren't quite as fluid as I wanted them to be. But afterwards, I had somebody come up to me and said, that's the best use of that technique I've ever seen.
Right.
I really want to spend time with you to figure out what you're doing.
All right.
I was like, wow. Okay,
Nice.
That's amazing to hear. And a lot of people. Well, there's one person said it was the highlight of the convention.
Wow.
Watching that bit, I was like, really? It's when you go, are you taking the piss, mate? Because I've watched this back, and this is the worst I've seen it. Yet you're enjoying this. So there's a bit of me which is in denial.
Right.
But there's no one in their right mind would purposefully walk up to someone and say it's the best thing I've ever seen,
Yeah.
having not had any conversation with them previously.
Yeah.
So I have to take it as a compliment. But I find that so difficult.
Absolutely.
I find it so difficult.
Take a compliment and go, no, it wasn't. You're lying to me. You didn't enjoy it. You did not. You were not inspired.
Yeah. I know I'm better than this. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I could have done so much better.
So yeah, and I realised we went for a pizza somewhere. I know it was Buffalo Wings, and we were in the car. It was me, Daryl, Christian, a guy called Matt, who was from Buffalo, and a guy called Michael Amar, who's like a legend, who did particular work on this technique I used. Mm-hmm. And I was in the car saying, yeah, it wasn't as good as it should have been. And I just realised, like, I said out loud, sorry, I'm bumming everyone out, aren't I? Yeah, I'll just be chirpy after this. But my habit is to get into that space quite quickly rather than look at the positives.
Yeah.
So I've come away from it and actually taken on board some of the feedback I got. It's actually that was all right.
Yeah.
I did all right.
And are you also taking a moment to enjoy the fact that you just performed at this important, exclusive club, regardless of how well it went, just to be there and be present.
And do the thing. Yeah.
Probably lost sight of that as well.
Yeah. But watching all of the acts, there weren't many that were particularly like flawlessly smooth, and everyone had a bit of a tremble here and there. I think it's just the 4F pressure. Just being in that room in front of that many people with that kind of standard, the bar so high, going, it better be good.
It's literally some of the best magicians in the world.
Yeah. There is.
It's gotta be pressure, right?
Yeah. So, so I got that done and out of the way, and then I could, I met some really cool people. A guy called Joe and a guy called Will. Will Fern and Joe, can't remember his last name, but it's proper like New Jersey Americans.
Oh, really?
It's so funny.
Well,
just so funny. Yeah.
I was going to do more of the accent, and I thought they might watch this and be
No Jersey. Just like proper New Yorkie Americans.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Cool, your body.
Yeah.
Some of they did this.
Not quite like that, but yeah. It was a heavy accent.
I'm not going to be invited, am I?
No. I'll teach you some tricks. Give me 2 years and I could probably get you in.
I'll just be I'll just be there for comedic value. I can do the roastings.
Oh, there is a roast at the end.
I'd be part of that.
Oh, there you go. There's 2 magicians right at the end.
Who is from New York or New Jersey?
Right, beat them down.
I can't do an accent that differentiates between the two, so I'll just do a generic New York, New Jersey accent. Oi, buddy.
I think in a room which is about 80% Americans, I don't know if it would go down well.
It's not going to go down. Were they armed? Oh, let's not go there.
Don't think so.
Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Yeah. So yeah, in a nutshell, it was a really great experience, and I came away inspired. Then after that, I went over to Toronto, saw Niagara Falls. It was a bit rainy and misty, but managed to kind of see that. Stayed in Toronto for 3 more days. Toronto was all right. I'm not in a rush to go back.
All right.
I think I'd say, go see Niagara Falls if you're nearby. But there's nothing that really was like, oh my God, I'm definitely coming back. I definitely need to recommend this to somebody else.
All right.
It was just kind of, okay, I've kind of ticked Canada off.
Yeah.
Or at least one city.
We'll get a scratch map and you can take the whole country off.
There we go.
Yeah. It counts.
Done.
I went to New York and Washington. I've scraped the US off.
You've seen the main bits, haven't you?
Yeah,
That's 2 main bits.
New York, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, New York, Washington.
Yes, America done.
Wait, LA. Yeah.
It's just more buildings.
Yeah. Busier, more buildings, and more people full of shit.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, it was a fun trip. Really enjoyed it. Came back inspired and reinvigorated.
And you plan to go back next year?
Yeah, already booked.
Amazing.
I need to get the flights booked at some point.
So when's the convention? April
next year.
So
I paid the ticket.
We'll do it in the middle of April then.
Yeah. We'll do it right before, like we did this year.
Yeah. And don't forget to leave your visa to like the day before.
The day before, yeah. Oh, do you know what? If so, me, you, and Mum went out for lunch. And this was like a ad hoc. You and Mum were meeting up anyway, and I said, "Oh, can I come join? I'm free." And you're like, "Yeah, sure." Sitting down in this lunch thing, starting a bit of a chat. Like, how you looking for your trip to Pakistan? And talking about America. So, have you done your visa and all that? And I went, oh yeah. And then at the dinner table, I'm like panicking.
And in that moment, I thought, that's not going to America.
Did you?
I did think that. I did think, and I thought, well, no, maybe it could be quite quick because it's not like a full.
It's just a check.
They
say it can take up to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, was it 2 weeks?
So I was hopeful, but
Something like
I didn't want to be artificially hopeful.
No, sorry, it was within 74 hours, and I was just on the mark. And they got back to me in like 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, yeah, that's all done. So thank God. But yeah, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have gone to America.
Yeah.
So yeah, ESTA, that was all sorted. God, that was stressful. But yeah, so thank you.
Good. And you used some of your COVID credits up for your flights as well, didn't you, for that trip?
Yeah, I think we lost some money from last. But it's by the by now. It's all good. So yeah, that was my trip. Okay, I think the biggest takeaway was probably just being inspired and meeting new people and just coming back with, just a new viv inside me to go. I want to read some more books and learn some more things ready for next year. So yeah.
Amazing. I was super, super proud of you. Put some posts up on Facebook of your show and then some pictures. And it's great to see.
Thanks, bro.
Wonderful.
Thank you. I've been to Pakistan.
I did. I go to Pakistan. So whilst you were in America, I was 3,000 miles in the opposite direction.
Mental, isn't it?
Well, no, from America, probably like 5,000 or something. I went for work. I went to Lahore and Karachi. It was weird. It was obviously I was doing a lot of work stuff, so during the day, but there was a little bit of time on some of the evenings to go out sightseeing. But the thing is, it was all very staged in a way. It was all very controlled because of the.
It was risky for you, wasn't it? In the company's eyes, they needed you to.
Yeah, be safe. So I couldn't do my own thing. I was under rules not to leave the hotel on my own, for example. In Karachi, I had an armed guard, which was weird. But I was extremely well looked after, and I got taken out in Lahore, for example. I got taken out for a guided tour.
And a special car?
It was like a little tourist rickshaw thing.
I saw the photos of that. Yeah.
This is me and I think there were 5 people from work. So it was really, really nice. So they did a tour of the fort, and then the big mosque that's there in Lahore, and it's absolutely fantastic. And it was still in the Eid celebration, so there were a lot of people on the streets, a lot of families. It's like a really nice atmosphere. So it kind of felt alive, you know. They said the guys I was with saying it's not normally this busy and chaotic, but for me it was like living more of an experience. I was quite pleased. I think they were annoyed, but I was pleased.
Bit more energy around the place.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely preferred Lahore. It's got a bit more better preserved, better landmarks to see, I think, whereas Karachi was a bit more concrete jungle.
Okay.
I did go to a cool place called Mahatta Palace, which is like a nicely preserved. It was only built in the 1920s or something, but it's a relatively pretty building. It's now converted into a museum. Went around there, which is quite interesting. But otherwise, Karachi really concretey. It does have the benefit of being by the sea.
Cool.
Which is good.
It's a bit cooler.
No,
Or
much
more
more
humid.
humid.
Oh, okay.
Unbearably humid.
Right. Okay.
And, one night there we went out to what's it called? Kalachi restaurant. So it's basically built on a pier into the sea, big wooden structure, 4 floors. It's just one massive restaurant.
Oh, wow.
It was really nice. And they had the henchest security guards I saw in the whole time in Pakistan. The guys there, they had assault rifles, they had armour on their legs and like modern tactical assault. They look like SWAT guys, honestly.
On the door?
And I swear one of them was 8 foot tall.
Really?
Yeah. I swear, 8 foot tall. I mean, it might have been 7 foot in reality, but he was tall. He was really tall. I was like,
And hench?
oh yeah, absolutely. With
Like
armour.
30 stone of
Armour and an assault
don't
rifle.
fuck with this.
There's 2 of those at the entrance. I'm like,
I have a reservation.
2 for 1, please. Yeah.
Wow.
That was crazy. So, you do. I felt safe the whole time. I genuinely felt safe the whole time.
That's good.
There was a lot of curiosity, a lot of staring. People were
Because you're white.
Yeah, just because white European, basically. I
Wow.
probably saw 2 or 3 the whole time I was in Pakistan. Probably 2 of those was in airports. But out and about, I was the only white European.
It's remarkable, isn't it? At this day and age, that there's no, like, I find it very difficult to conceptualise that, because coming from such a multicultural country,
Yeah.
and then going to a place where it's not as multicultural, sort of going, wow, that's remarkable.
Yeah.
You kind of, my concept of the world is everyone's kind of meshed together, but that is not how the world looks in reality.
Absolutely not. No. And some of the kids there, they were really curious. Some of them were taking photos or just sort of being nearby. And the team there said, they just want to hear you talk. They just, they don't see many white, because of the pandemic as well. Some of these kids have literally never seen a white European.
Of course.
So it's fascinating, it's curious, but I've never felt so foreign in my whole life. But it's part of the experience. The food was great out there. I didn't have anything that was too spicy, but I do think the spices had an accumulative effect on me, I think, towards the end of the week.
Right. Just before you're flying.
Just
That's
before
great.
I was coming home, I had to crack open the medicine boxes I took to,
It's just the way you took it.
just make sure.
Yeah, I think everyone that's I've spoken to that's had an encounter with any part of that part of the world, it's like, take some medication with you, because it's going to happen.
And it's almost like it's not like you've got food poisoning. Like, I wasn't having any pain or cramps as such. It's just your body just being like overloaded with different spices or something. Plus, I think the heat had a factor, because the air conditioning,
Dehydration as well.
quite well. Yeah, and I was guzzling. I was guzzling water the whole time, but you're going in and out of air conditioning back into 40-degree heat. In, out. I think it takes a toll. So.
Nauseating. I remember when we were in Turkey as kids, I'll never forget this. It must be like what I remember as 40-degree heat. It was unbearably hot.
Yeah.
Middle of the day, and we were just fed up, and we just wanted to get a taxi back to the hotel.
Yeah.
And it was like going from an oven into a fridge.
Yeah.
I remember just instantly feeling really ill. Just going, I can't wait to go back to the hotel because I do not feel well.
Yeah.
Just that sudden shock on the body.
Yeah.
It was lovely at the beginning, but it's like, whew. I'll never forget that. We were
Yeah.
waiting for a taxi and just
It was.
it was like hitting a wall.
Yeah, we went to the market. I remember
That's
it well.
yeah.
We went to the market and then coming up in the taxi.
Was that when we saw a woman who had their purse pinched? Do you remember?
I see. I don't remember that specifically.
It was either Turkey or Ibiza. We were walking around the markets, and I bought a ring, it was a ring with a Nike ring, genuine, of course.
Genuine Nike ring.
Yeah, genuine article. And there was a woman who, I don't know where she was from, but she sort of had her hands up to her face, going, "Oh no, I've been pickpocketed. I've lost all my money." I remember walking around with you because I think we broke off from mum and dad.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll never forget that. Just seeing the panic in there. So, oh no, I've just been nicked.
Oh,
you know?
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember it specifically.
Yeah, that's what stood out in my mind.
I've been in a couple of similar situations where I've been near people that have had stuff nicked. One that comes to mind, first of all, was in Nice, in the Hard Rock Cafe. We were sat outside the front of it, and there was a table next to us. Weren't paying much attention to them, but I think they put their bags behind them. I mean, I'm quite alert. I will wrap my bag around my legs and around the chair legs. Like, this is going to be really hard to, But
Absolutely.
yeah, at some point eating, at some point they're like, "Oh, where's the bags? Where's the bags?" And gone.
God's
So we
sake.
go, yeah.
I'm always like that. If I go to sleep on a train, I'll put my arm through my backpack and then I'll cross my arms and fall asleep. Zips facing me. It's that kind of thoughtfulness going. I don't want anyone to rob me while I'm asleep.
See, that's very sensible.
Yeah.
Could also mean we're sort of hyper vigilant to the world around us as well.
Yeah. It causes part of the anxiety.
But it's very sensible, particularly if you're somewhere like, I don't know, Ibiza or Nice or somewhere where it's a place where tourists go, so you're going to get petty theft.
Yeah.
Anywhere like that.
Yeah. Anywhere with a high population and loads of tourists, there's going to be pickpockets about. Like, I think when I walked around Paris, I think my experience of Paris is just bags. I've spoken to enough people saying, no, Paris was quite nice. I think when I went, it just wasn't the best experience. I just felt like everyone was eyeing me up to either rob me or ask me for money or try and sell me something.
Yeah.
Just a lot of that going on.
There's a lot of that. Definitely a lot of Paris. I did actually witness another thing in Paris. We're on a funicular thing, and I think it was to go up to Sacré-Cœur.
A funicular thing?
Yeah, it's
What's
like
that?
a sort of cross between a lift and an elevator. Sort of take you up steep.
My brain's went,
inclines.
what is a cross between an elevator and a lift? It's like
No.
a box you stand in?
Wrong word. A lift, because I'm English, not American. A lift and an escalator.
Yeah, that's what I heard you say.
Yeah, so it moves up.
But how does that
gradients. And you go in a pod.
So it's a pod escalator.
On wheels. Yeah, pod on wheels that
escalates
goes
you up.
and down, funicular.
Okay.
And there's and I think it was going up to Sacré-Cœur, and of course there's tourists. The pod's full of tourists going, "Oh, look at that!" But there's a lady literally stood here, and she had a bum bag there, and there was some seating, so some people were sat down, and I noticed this lady kind of agitate a little bit. So I looked down, and there was somebody sat that her bum bag was open, and she put her hand down, and the lady was like, "Oh, you're pickpocketing," and we're all in confined space, and this lady's like, "Oh, I'm being pickpocketed."
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it was all a bit like, oh shit, and I like, yeah, you were. She was in your bum bag, And then there was some kind of peacemaker in there. It was like, everyone calm down, and then we just got out of there as quickly as we could.
Mate, if that happened in the UK, that person would get beaten.
I know. That's right, because I would feel tempted. What would you do if that was me? Somebody stealing from me? I don't know what I'd do. I'd be very angry, I think.
Yeah. I'd have a go at them. I don't think I'd physically harm them.
Yeah,
but I'd have a go at them.
You want to shit them up a bit, wouldn't you? You want to scare them.
Yeah, that's what I'd want to do.
Yeah.
I'm sounding really evil now, but that is probably what I'd do to teach them a lesson. Because next time they do it, they go, oh no, but he might be angry like the last guy was.
Yeah.
So yeah. What the fuck are you doing? Yeah.
So there's a couple of things there. I'm sure there's more.
That's so bold. To try and pickpocket someone on a pod full of people.
And it was, broad daylight. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. God. But
What are we talking about?
yeah, it was you were halfway through your trip. So you seen the palace?
Oh yeah, saw the palace.
Ate the food?
Yes. Flights I think were all good. First time ever I flew business class, which was lovely.
Yeah.
And it definitely takes the sting out of travelling.
I bet it does. For those prices.
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus.
And it was lovely to lay flat.
And it was lovely to lay flat on a flight. Oh God.
With a pillow.
That is the dream, bro.
I must admit, I didn't sleep that much. But just have the option is nice. Just to recline a bit and.
I had a bed, didn't even use it.
Yeah. Better used it. Better used it.
I bought 5 houses, so don't use any of them.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a bit that there's a comedy magician called David Williamson.
Yeah.
He tells this story about he had to perform for David Copperfield and a few other sort of big names, Siegfried and Roy. And he sort of tells this story of going up in this gold and like plated lift, going down this hall of people, and there were like human hands holding torches. He builds it up. It's sort of this. He walks into the room and he's got this fur mink coat over his shoulders. David Copperfield's just resting over his shoulders. You know, each sleeve is worth more than my parents' houses, and he uses neither of them. It's just this really funny concept of I've got so much money I don't even use these.
I don't even need to use them. I just got them for show.
Anyway, we digress.
Yeah.
Business class.
Business class. Yeah, it was lovely. It was very, very nice. Glass of champagne. Yeah, I was sat next to. Oh, I don't know if I should tell this story.
Why
It's
not?
embarrassing.
We can tag her in it.
Is it really? Okay.
This is the man. What's your side of the story? Come on.
So I get on the plane and there's somebody sat next to me. I think, oh, I recognise you. And it's bugging me. And I kind of looking over and I thought, and she was with her child. Seemed very pleasant. Not that we'd spoke, but smiled and all that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it was bugging me, the whole flight bugging me, and it's like 7 hours to Dubai, and it got about 6 hours in. By the time it was sort of like the middle of the night in Dubai at this point.
Yes, it bugged you for 6 hours.
It did, and
Wow.
I was thinking, do I say something? And I had in my mind it was Mel from Sue and Mel,
Right.
the comedy double act, and they now do separate things. But Mel, kind of blonde lady there. So I go, oh, that's Mel. That's Mel from Sue and Mel. Oh, how exciting. I'm sat next to a celebrity. So yeah, so about 6 hours into the flight, the kid's asleep and she's on the phone. I was like, really sorry, can I ask you a question? She's like, yes. Is your name Melanie? She went, no. And I went into a panic of like, oh no, that's not Mel. That's somebody else that looks like Mel. She's getting insulted. And then she said, who's Mel?
The hole has just got deeper.
I'm so sorry. I thought I recognised you from somewhere. And I think she was confused at that point. She was like, oh right. And I felt I had to say something to try and get out of the hole to do it. I said, do you mind me asking what you do? She said, oh, I do comedy things. And then the penny dropped. Then I thought, is it Mel again? Maybe she wasn't sure what her name was, and that I was right, and it's still Mel. I was I was sleep deprived as well, right? And then it occurred to me it's Sara Pascoe.
So right genre, completely different person.
Yeah, but also Mel's like 15 years older, so I think
that looks nothing like Sara Pascoe.
Both blonde.
Blonde women, comedy. They all sit in the same box for me.
They're all in my same mental box. Oh, it's excruciating.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's really cool, though.
It is quite cool. Yeah.
She actually, I put a tweet out because she was talking about a book. And I put a tweet out asking about this book, and she tweeted back. I bought the book since. I was like, oh man, what a legend. Like, what a stand-up person. And he told me this story. It's just like, oh man. That's awkward.
She actually seemed very pleasant with our limited, painful interaction.
Oh, God. And how long do you have now left?
Yeah, about that.
So did you just pretend to be asleep for the rest of the flight?
Yeah, that's right. Luckily, they were doing all the procedures, taking our blankets away and stuff, so I managed to distract it. And then as we left, I said, oh, nice to meet you, good luck. With like, oh, good luck with your comedy thing, anonymous person who I don't know who you are, but now I do, and that you're probably a multi-millionaire. But
good luck.
Good luck with your little comedy, you know. Oh, maybe it turns out all right for you.
So as you walk away, you thought, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. Oh, God, I made it worse.
Yeah,
and I might have been sat next to somebody on the other side who was also famous, who was doing a lot of Instagram-y kind of poses.
Who were they?
I don't know who she was.
Oh.
But there was a lot of filler, kind of glamorous looking.
Okay.
Taking pictures
all the time.
All the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I wasn't sat next to... Well, say hi. I'm glad you weren't sat next to that. Yeah. That sounds irritating.
It was a bit. Although it's nicely divided in business, so you
there you go.
kind of zone out a bit.
Shut off to it.
Yeah.
That's all right. So hold on, you sat next to Sara Pascoe, but you're in your own pod? Or you...
Yeah, so it's like by the window you got 2 pods. So I wasn't by the window, this other glamorous being was, and then me, and then it was an aisle away, and then Sara Pascoe.
Oh, I see. So it's like 1, 2, and then aisle 1, 2.
Yeah.
So one of you is facing the wrong way?
2. No, we're all facing forward.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
that's pretty cool, man. Yeah. Nice.
Very good trip. I very much enjoyed it. It was a great experience.
Good.
Yes.
Good. We have to clip that and send that to Sara Pascoe now.
Oh,
that'd be brilliant.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Sarah. If you ever see this, I do apologise. It's my own. What can I put it down to? Prejudice is some kind of cognitive grouping.
I think it's easily done. Whenever I think of, it's the way your memory works. So if you try and think of somebody, it's like, oh man, I've packaged them in with a group, but I don't know. I can't pick which one it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, shouldn't beat yourself up about it.
She didn't ask who I was, so I wasn't too offended.
That's fine. Now she knows. She didn't
recognise me from the podcast.
yeah. 16 subscribers, Sara Pascoe. Why aren't you following our pod?
Is your name Matthew? Like, no. Actually,
Chris.
I'm the other one.
That's brilliant. Fab. So yeah, we were both jet setting essentially.
We were.
You've been rubbing shoulders with celebrities.
Yes.
I've been rubbing shoulders with magicians.
Magician celebrities.
Magician celebrities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
It's just how we roll.
Yeah. Love it. Well, I think that's a nice way to wrap up, actually.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, queries, or feedback, then we'd love to hear from you. What's the best email to reach us on, Chris?
Oh, that would still be q@stillwondering.com.
And that is?
Wondering with an A and not an O.
Excellent. And if you have any questions, any queries, any comments, we read everything and we'll probably read it out loud on the pod, which brings us to a letter. Oh, God. Letter of the week. We've received a few, and these are very much behind.
Oh, wow.
That one's been read.
Should we do one now?
We'll do one now. So, letter time. And this was dated 5th of the 12th, 2022. So it goes to show how we've been keeping on top of our... Although, to be fair, we got the feeling... Well, no, that's fine. So, November the 6th, 2022. If you do send stuff in, we'll get to it quickly, I promise. Dear Still Wondering guys, I thought I would drop you a line to connect with you both, and I'm really enjoying your fantastically interesting podcasts. Well, we're off to a good start, aren't we? Thank you.
Dear reader.
In your podcast, number 16, we don't even know what number that is, so...
that was a classic.
There we go. It was a good one, wasn't it?
Obviously.
That one.
Must have been.
You both talked about the hot weather and keeping cool, amongst other things. Well, we do. You asked your avid audience what their favourite season is and also their favourite weather. Because we ask really interesting questions on this podcast. My favourite season is springtime and my favourite weather is sunshine. I love to see the spring flowers poking up through the soil in my garden and new leaves growing on the trees and bushes. Nature is waking up and coming back to life. Lambs are being born and some animals are waking up from their long winter hibernation. I always feel excited about the impending summertime when we can trust the weather a bit more and happily hang our smalls outside on the washing line. Lovely. Want to show off your smalls. The sunshine is warmer of our faces and we reacquaint ourselves with the smell of freshly cut grass. Just the small things to be grateful for. All the best, Gary Gusset.
Gary Gusset.
Gary Gusset.
Nice.
There you go. Thank you very much, Gary Gusset. Thanks for writing in. We do read all of your letters. We have one more to read, which we'll read on the next week.
Okay.
On the next podcast.
Cool.
So there we go. Thanks a lot, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Ta-da.
Bye-bye.
Bye.